I've never been so happy to see vintage cars get destroyed. Batter up.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba.
Hey everybody, welcome to Thumb Together TV. My name is Andrew Fantasia. Today we're going to be talking about Lovecraft Country, Episode 3, Holy Ghost, together. As usual, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and give some love to that subscribe button as well. Holy Ghost kind of finally took this show in the place where I understood what kind of show it was going to be. Because, you know, my biggest sort of concerns in episodes 1 and 2 were how fast everything was moving. It's like, ooh, road trip. Okay, road trip's over. Ooh, crazy house. Okay, crazy house is gone. And now I finally kind of understand what they're doing. And it's very thematic. It's the whole Lovecraft motif going on. It's like every single one of them is a short story. Sort of. That just looks like that's what's happening. And now that I finally wrapped my wee little brain around that, I think I can enjoy this show even more and not kind of worry about how staggered every episode has been feeling. So Uncle George's funeral happened and he's gone, poor guy. But I think we're going to see Uncle George again. And his wife Hippolyta is all sad because that makes perfect sense. And she's tearing up his copy of Dracula for some reason. I don't know what her deal is, but all the promos made it seem like she was super important. So I don't think we've seen Hippolyta's story come to full fruition just yet. Plus she found a crazy weird space mobile thing. But I don't know what to make of that, so I'm just going to say it's a crazy, weird space mobile thing and move on. Speaking of moving on, that's what Letitia did. She bought a nice big house. It's this house in the middle of a white neighborhood. That could not possibly backfire in any way. No, it turns out it does backfire in several ways. Yeah, this neighborhood is full of racists. It's on the north side of Chicago, I think. So it's just not a pleasant place to be for her. And these jackasses come right away with their cars, blaring their horns 24/7 and just kind of standing there all smug like, ooh, look at us blaring our horns, get out of our neighborhood. And I'm just like, don't you people have jobs? Anyway, Letitia's just trying to ignore them and she's just trying to live her life. But then things start taking an interesting turn because, yeah, guess what? This house is a Lovecraftian house, so it's not exactly pleasant. It's not uninhabited. It's got ghosts. That's why this thing's called Holy Ghost. That's the whole shebang there. And we see one of them pretty quick. She looks like this. Yikes. Please never come near me, ghost lady. Now, what this episode does really well, which the whole series has been doing really well, is mixing the supernatural horror with just the horror of trying to live in America as a black person in the 1950s, and enmeshing it in such a way where it's like, which one is scarier? I don't know. I don't want to have to deal with either of them. But unfortunately, our heroes do. And in the midst of all the horn honking and cross burning that's going on, there's also, you know, strange noises in the basement and trap doors that are being slammed and bed sheets that are being pulled off. And it's just a complete and utter horror show, literally. Also, there's an elevator that tries to kill people whenever they try to use it. So there's that too. And then finding out the story of the house was really cool because this really felt to me like a true classic pulp horror story with this guy, this professor who's experimenting on people and doing all kinds of weird shit down in that dark room, and to the point where they had to get a voodoo person to come in there and exorcise the room, and it didn't really work too well for her either. Now, this mad scientist, what he has to offer to the story, I don't think we've seen the last of yet, because he's friends with the guy who owns the other, much bigger, much nicer house over on the East Coast, and they were homies. They were part of the same wizard cult. And this sheriff really seems like he knows more than he's letting on. I don't think we've seen the last of him either. He lets Letitia go very easily, which tells me he wants her to do something in that house. And what does he want her to do? Well, it might have something to do with our friend Christina, who survived, because she's a wizard and she apparently can't be killed by a house collapsing on top of her. Makes sense. But anyway, she uses her witchcraft there on Atticus, and she's like, I'm not done with you yet. I want you to get the pages out of that guy's diary. I want those pages, and I'm magic, so don't point guns at me. And Atticus is like, oh, well, hell, how am I supposed to deal with this now? And that whole setup really feels like there's something big and powerful going on in this plot, and that is where we're going to focus, I hope, most of our attention going forward, and not just for one episode. Because we got that beautiful shot here right at the end where we're following that elevator all the way down to the depths, even below the basement and the sub-basement of this terribly haunted home, and we see a tunnel that goes on for a long, long stretch. What's at the end of that tunnel? I don't know. Probably some Indiana Jones traps and probably some diary pages too. If I was a betting man, that's where I would say that they would be. And God only knows what else is lurking down there, but it's probably not good. So the whole hunt for these diary pages is what I think the rest of the show is going to tackle. And it seemed to even be foreshadowing that when Paulette is ripping up the Dracula book, she's ripping up the pages, which is exactly mirroring what this mad scientist did. The whole house doesn't seem like it's done with them yet, even though they went through this whole exorcism rigmarole. So I'm really happy to see that this is going to continue, even though it really has been setting the stage for these episodic short story chunks, which I'm cool with now because now I understand that's their forte. I really just want to see more of this story play out in a more long form thing and have the confrontation between our heroes and these wizard folk expand into something bigger and more profound and more epic. Because my takeaway from reading Lovecraft's work back in the day was that it desperately needed to be epic, and it wasn't. It felt too small. And so far, this is feeling small, but it's building towards what I think these stories deserve. So let's hope that it gets there, and let's hope that we never have to see any of these ghosts again. Oh, and by the way, Atticus and Letitia totally get it on in the bathroom, because yeah, they do. Anyway, that was Holy Ghost, episode 3 of Lovecraft Country. I'm Andrew Fantasia. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you here next time, and until then, adios.